Welcome, cosmic travelers, to The Quantum Shift, where each week we leave the ordinary behind and step into a world of extraordinary possibilities. Imagine our reality being portaled into the realm of 5D wonderment, magic, and heartfelt living. This isn't just a wild concept. It's our new journey with the archangels and the world they built for the crystal DNA hue. Joining us on this adventure is our guide, George, who is our personal galactic guide from the 13th dimension. His profound insights never stop challenging and expanding minds. Our perceptions are easing their way into the zero-point timeline of a new quantum reality and newly awakened expressions of wisdom and mastery. Every episode promises to leap into the unknown, sparking vibrant discussions that illuminate our minds and transform our souls. We are putting on the parachute and getting ready to jump into the unknown. Let's pull the ripcord together and leap into a new realm of spiritual awakening. Brace for the stars as the Quantum Shift merges with an in-depth journey with your cosmic navigators. Introducing your host of the Quantum Shift, Dr. Sam Mugzzi and Digital Tom.
Welcome to the Quantum Shift, where we explore the mysteries of the universe. Today's episode promises to be a thrilling journey as we explore the architect of creation. I can't wait to hear what Mugzzi has to share with us in this show. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Hi Mugzzi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I just got a massive download from George about how timelines work together, how it forms the tetrahedron, and what it takes to really maneuver your way out of 3D. So I'm ready to go. What I want people to understand is that nobody controls death. Nobody controls reincarnation. Nobody controls the snakes that come at you. This all has to do with the architect's design of this assimilation that our physical, biological bodies are taking part in. If you study in Thailand, if you study in Vietnam, if you study in China, areas like that in the East, they talk about the snakes and that there are 9 snakes or 12 snakes. Those snakes correspond with the labyrinth. And these snakes are challenges that are put our way to see if we're ready to move into the 5D. So when a snake or a challenge is presented to us, it's the way that we think and maneuver around that snake or tame that snake, which is really ideal. What the key to moving into higher dimensional consciousness all stems around knowledge. They keep saying God is knowledge. And that's correct, because in order to achieve this anti-aging eternal life or a higher consciousness bliss life, you have to be able to control these snakes. And if you don't, then that is what causes death. So, Tom, do you have any questions, or can I start getting into this?
Let's get into it, please.
Okay, so let's start with what Valiant Thor teaches, which is the golden star. The golden star is the development of your mind, how you approach family, spirituality, your career, your relationships, and how you manage to balance out those things in your mind in a productive way. This is how you're going to then maneuver through your everyday life. This is where the Druze with a Z, Druze star, which is multicolored, which has to do with how you apply yourself to your everyday life. So if you're if you have a career, if you have gatherings, if you have a relationship, if you have a family, if you have children, all of those aspects of you and what you're creating in your day-to-day life has to do with your Drew's star. Then once you balance out both those stars, then you're going to maneuver to acquire a crystal star. Which is your spiritual star, when you overlay the golden star, your Drew's star, and the crystal star, that is what creates your Merkaba, which is your key code to move into the fifth dimension and beyond. You don't have to stay in the fifth dimension. You can keep growing and learning. So let me start by giving some examples of how this works so you guys understand what is happening on the planet right now. Through a series of magnetics, through frequency, through light, through the ions of quantum physics, the quantum particles, the matrix in which we live in is all constructed of a wave pattern of these different particles that are created from us. And what we do is we then will receive back, mirrored, the loop of what we have created in our mind. So when we create a box, which is our reality, which is going to be our screen, our video camera that we're projecting on the earth, that then comes back to us in our reality of what we magnetically have drawn to us, is what we're going to see in the physical. And the way that the architect has designed, this is my opinion, somebody else might have other words, other ways of looking at this. So just have an open mind, and then you can adapt it for yourself the way that you see fit. I'm not here to teach anybody how to think specifically, just to open a window so that you can then pull vault out and use your own parachute with your own thinking and development. Okay. So here's what happens is that every system, every institution has a negative or a positive charge. And depending on the individual's mind, their golden star, their mind will project whether that system is a positive or a negative. And if you have knowledge behind your mental mind, when you are viewing a system, will determine whether or not it has a positive or a negative charge. So here's how it works. So let's take money, for example. Money can be negative or money can be positive, depending on where your mental mind was developed or how it was developed. So when you get money, here's a positive one. So when I view money, it can be used to satisfy my biological needs so that my home life is comfortable and it's well stocked with food and we have clean water and we have good air to breathe. That brings a positive reflection on how to use money. You can also use money to help somebody in need. And that is a positive reaction or a behavior from your knowledge. It's also a way to be able to use money to help animals, to reforest, to bring about more plants or vegetation or clean up rivers in a positive way. When you act in a positive manner within an institution, this will slow down your electric charge. The way that you are creating emotions within your timeline. The slower you get with your emotions, the more you reach that 0 point, and what everybody says, like you want to meditate, you want to calm your thoughts, your emotions, you want to calm everything down, because when you do is when you can slow time down. This is when you can create a timeline that begins to form in a Fibonacci spiral. This is how you move into the fifth dimension or into the sixth dimension. There is no end because you're maintaining your one single timeline and you're existing within it in a slow manner, the 0 point, which then can ascend into other dimensions of thought. Now, if you're in bliss, if you're happy, if you're in joy, then you're going to have that 0 point behavior. So this is important because what does it take to have a 0 point emotion? It takes knowledge, because when you learn to conquer the snake, you become your I am. You become strong. You become invincible. You can handle whatever challenge comes at you because your shield is knowledge. So, for instance, let's say that there is a problem with a bank, and your bank is charging all these fees and they shouldn't be charging them. They're not yours. You had nothing to do with it. You didn't buy it. So a person that lacks in knowledge of the banking system or even communication skills, they will not know how to present themselves to articulate to the bank that these issues are not theirs. Instead, they will project anger, frustration, they will be mad, and they deploy this energy outburst that's very speedy. It's fast. This fast behavior is what causes aging, and it's what causes death. Because the faster you move through your timeline, deploying anger, frustration, depression, guilt, all of those negative emotions are actually fast. And when you deploy those, you're moving through your timeline fast until you get to the end, which then is where death is. And there's a hook on the end of your timeline. And if you reach the end, that hook is actually a little gradual round hook that then is your reincarnation and brings you back to a 3D planetary system to then be presented with Jacob's ladder or the Hindu snakes that you have to conquer throughout your lifetime, maintaining a 0 point behavior of anti-aging. When you reach the end of 3D, you then have achieved your golden star, your Drew's star, and your crystal star, and you're sitting in your 0 point frequency of bliss, which allows, instead of a hook back to 3D, it now is going to start to spiral in a Fibonacci circle. That's the difference. So our goal is always going to be that no matter what challenges come our way, we either have to use the knowledge that we have or continue to learn so that we can conquer that snake. We're always going to be presented with challenges. The better that you can conquer that challenge with wisdom, intellect, being wise, or even being mature in your choices, will provide an outcome where the issue is resolved in a happy, blissful way, which then allows you to maintain your 0 point frequency, which is anti-aging. You age when you step out of the bubble of 0 point. Every institution is going to provide an opportunity to have a positive charge, which is going to be a poison. So the faster you move, the more poisons you're going to endure, or a negative charge, which means that that pulls you back into that 0 point, which is with happiness. Love, even, is a great way to ground yourself in the 0 point. So it's all knowledge based. And when you develop the ability to handle these challenges in a 0 point way, so you're anti-aging, you did it with wisdom. The end result is you're now developing self-esteem and self-worth. And this is what is necessary to develop the I am. Once you have your I am, you're literally telling the world, I am ready. I can handle the good, the bad, and the ugly. I can handle my choices and the challenges that will be presented through each challenge. So this is why I've always said, you want to have your heart in one hand, your brain in the other, and then a nice big sword in the back. You need to carry your shield of knowledge as you move through these timelines, right? So when you look at your timeline, this is something that you must learn to manipulate energy. This is what Dolores Cannon was talking about. This is why you're here, is to learn how to control your 0 point. It's kind of like the driver's seat of your automobile. If you're going to be going fast, then you're just going to be recycling back to 3D. This one timeline that you have is conditioned on how you handle your thinking, your heart, your challenges. This timeline is the one that you want to hang on to. You don't want to hook. If you reach the end, that's at the end of a timeline is a hook. If you maintain this one that we're on, the objective is to stay in a 0 point frequency and to move through this timeline slowly. And in some cases, you can even reverse time when you get good at this, because the challenges coming at you, they will be non-existent. You'll no longer have any type of outburst, negativity in any way, because you're in control. Now, where we're at now is we're changing into a fifth dimensional frame of thinking, a consciousness, a way of interacting within our timeline. Most of us have achieved the 0 point bliss. And that's why we're now moving into the 5D. So what's going to happen is that in the 5D, the rules have changed. We're no longer going to be tied to our family and their timelines, which looks like spaghetti. Or now, instead, we're going to be moving into a timeline construct with tribes, which are like-minded people with a higher frequency timeline. The colors change. So we're going to be searching for our tribes that help us to maintain our 0 point and master even age regression through the 0 point. So people that are acting out with anger, they're creating the black box, right? They're creating fear, anger, guilt, all these negative emotions, which is the black box, which is death, and which is part of the underworld, because the underworld is for death. It's for us to keep going through the recycling process until we figure out how to master these challenges. So it's going to be very important, probably from now forward, that the people you surround yourself with are your tribe. They're people that want to lower the emotional outburst. They want to maintain the 0 point mastery, and they want to be able to increase knowledge so that there are no more challenges that upset them. Everything's going to be a harmonics of a lower frequency, a negative ion, no poisons. Okay. So let me talk to you about Kurt. He's going to be my 3D guy. His name is Kurt, and he is going to have a lifestyle that most of us can understand and connect with, because most of us have dealt with it. So here's Kurt. He has 3D parents, and maybe his mom is a truck driver. This is just an example, okay? Please don't get upset with me. But the dad, let's say the dad is a school teacher and teaches PE, okay? The education level is going to be minimal. The activity level can be better because it might be a PE teacher. The teacher could be teaching better communication skills. But if you have parents, like let's say if Kurt had parents that was a mom is a bartender and the dad is a driver for a truck that delivers beer, let's say. Let's go to that scenario because this is going to become very clear. When these two people have a child, that child is going to grow up in a daycare that those parents can provide. The family or the tree of that bloodline, of both those bloodlines, are going to have sort of a low level educational goal because that's just what is their background. Their vocabulary is going to be minimal. Their ability to express themselves is going to be minimal. Their ability to handle challenges is going to be minimal, because if you don't know how to express yourself, if you don't know how to go look things up, then you're going to become frustrated. You're going to become angry because you can't control your environment. In Kurt's environment, there is going to be a lack of nutrition because mom works, dad works, and they don't look it up. They don't see the importance. They're just throwing slop on the table, and that is supposed to be food, right? So it could be highly processed, microwave, whiz cheese, or whatever. It's all fast foods that aren't healthy because mom works and they don't see the need for a high nutritious meal. So the brain of the development of that child is going to be reduced from a lack of good nutrition. The speech is going to be minimized because the parents don't speak properly. So it's going to enhance the child. Where the child lives is going to dictate a school that has similar vocabularies, similar speech, similar mannerisms, right? It's all connected. But you can look at their lack of survival skills because you're dealing from an economic level which doesn't promote education. So you're going to have a lack of survival skills. You're also going to have a lack of knowledge of law. So it's really easy for Kurt to go out and break the law because he doesn't know the law. The other thing is business. He's going to lack the knowledge of business. So he's not going to be able to have his own business, or if he does, he's going to end up getting screwed because he doesn't understand how business works. He doesn't understand that there are certain rules to business. And if you don't follow these rules, then you could end up in jail. You could end up losing a lot of money, or you could end up being victimized by a snake. If you have a lack of money management, you're not going to know how to properly invest. You're going to invest your money with snakes. And you're going to have a tendency, since you have a lack of self-esteem and self-worth, you're going to use your money to make you look like you're a bigger deal than you are. So you're going to spend a lot of money in a bigger house than what you should have. You're going to have a car that you shouldn't be driving, because a car, when you buy a car, it actually will deplete your resources very quickly. But you need those things, those baubles, those shiny baubles, to put in front of people so that they're not looking at you inside your golden star. The next thing is that you're going to be lacking in computer skills, because you're not going to know how to type. You're not going to know really how to read, or if you do read, maybe not know how to comprehend what you are reading. And you don't have good logic skills, which is going to also hinder your ability to do research even. So your lack of knowledge is going to be thwarted because you're not engaged and you don't have the toolkit to look this stuff up. So you could see the picture that I'm painting with Kurt. The other thing is that when Kurt gets married, he's going to marry somebody like him, and maybe even more like him in other ways, where maybe the wife isn't used to going out and earning her money so much because she doesn't have knowledge or the skills. So she begins to con people, manipulate people. She starts light housing or light gassing people so that she's always lying and twisting things so that they don't catch on to the fact that she lacks knowledge. This happens a lot. This is very, very common. And these people will usually try to get associations that create a self-image that is a temporary fix to a problem within the golden star. So here's an example. Like, if you lack the importance to be like Hercules, let's say. And I wonder if these Greek gods really are a representation of the golden star maturity that we would develop within our own selves instead of people actually here. I mean, is it a reflection of what we needed to develop within? So let's go back. So you have somebody that has a self-esteem issue. So they're going to have a Hercules complex. And they're going to create a way to fix that by associating with their favorite sport team. You know, it's not that they themselves are a superstar, but instead, yay, I'm the 49ers, and they got 49ers stuff all over the house. Or yay, I'm a Raider fan, and they got Raider stuff all over the house. So they're not associating with what is deficient within themselves. They fix that hole by now having a pseudo relationship with a sports team. Or if you lack the ability to have knowledge for business or money or how to invest, instead, what you're going to do is you're going to wear a bunch of gold chains. You know, you're going to show everybody that, hey, look how wealthy I am. We begin to get shiny baubles then to convince people that we have a golden star when we really don't, when it's deficient. So is that also the Athena? Women that can't develop their own golden star, they then will go out of balance and become all about beauty, and they're getting their hair dyed, they're getting their nails done, they're wearing tons of makeup, they're going to the gym every day and working out for 2 hours because they need to be the Athena to attract a husband that has a lot of money, so that now they have satisfied the outside world with their shiny bauble to cover up the fact that they're not complete within. And this is a spiral then begins to happen with any branch of a tree in a family bloodline, because this is now taught to the kids and the grandkids. And, don't worry, you're not going to be able to get into the good schools. Instead, just learn to be beautiful, and then you can attract the right husband that has a good title. He's a lawyer, he's a doctor, or he's a CPA or something like that. Then this just keeps perpetuating until one of the kids goes, wait a minute, I'm going to school and I'm breaking this. And that takes a lot of courage. So this person, like Kurt, is going to be stuck in a lower vibration, which actually is going to speed up his timeline. Because when he gets presented with any challenges, then he's going to be acting out with anger or frustration, guilt, depression, things of that manner, which actually is a positive ion, a poison, which speeds you up on that timeline. You only get one. So if you race through it, when you get to the end and you die, there's a slight hook to it, and it circles around and you come back into a 3D environment. The only way to get out of that hook is you have to spiral the end of your timeline in a continuum so it keeps going. So how are you going to do that? And I just want to mention that if you're not educating yourself, if you're not learning business, law, computers, all of these things that could be possible snakes, you're going to be creating a lower income for yourself, which then will it makes you want these external services to fill up where you have your voids. And a really good example is modern medicine, because people don't know about their body. They don't know about chemistry or science. They don't know anatomy or how the body works together. So they think with their little insurance card that they're going to be able to go to modern medicine and they're going to be able to get expertise, and that expertise is going to heal them. And then they find out that no, that was another one of those snakes, and quite literally, and it's not here to heal you. 250,000 pharmaceutical drugs were created approximately, and all of the diseases are all patented by the Freemasons. So they're creating diseases. Where does the diseases set in? With people that have a lower frequency, which means that you reside in anger. You're creating that acid, and that's what creates disease. So let's take the flip side of that, and let's talk about Sally, because Sally wants to go to 5D. She wants to go to 6D, 7D, and she wants to live her life completely different. So Sally breaks through her matrix, and this is how she does it. First of all, she's going to be looking at ways to create the golden star, which is her thoughts, which are magnetically going to draw to you your experiences that you need to tame, which are the snakes. So what does she do? Instead of jumping out in the real world and meeting all the snakes, Instead, she goes, wait a minute, let me take a time out and I'm going to go and learn before I meet my snakes. And so she locks herself up in school or she starts reading. You know, some very, very smart people didn't go to college, but they're self-taught and they're brilliant. But they still meet snakes because you're going to have your limitations because you don't have the credentials to back you up to get those better jobs to give you financial freedom, which eliminates more snakes. But you have to know how to manage your financial freedom in order to sustain this equilibrium of 0 point. So here's Sally. Okay, so she's going to learn music and math because she likes the harmonics of the 0 point. She's also interested in health, but she's also wanting beauty in a healthy way. So she exercises, but she does it in a way where it's not creating acid, but instead body form. So she's being thoughtful about the way that she's exercising in order to increase stamina within the body, increase muscle mass, which then will demonstrate an internal and an external beauty. Another thing she wants to know is apothecary, learning how to make her own remedies, learning how to make her own home products so that nothing's diseased, so she can protect her beauty body, right? She wants to learn the Constitution, so she knows her rights. She knows her boundaries. She knows what to deal with and what not to deal with. She wants to learn business and how does business work? How does marketing work? What is business law? How do you set up budgeting? How are you able to maneuver through a business environment and be successful? It's better to learn that in a book than to get a business and learn it through hard knocks. The next thing she wants to learn about money, accounting, how to put money aside, how to invest money, how to be able to determine if a business is worth investing in. Is it going to steal your money? Am I listening to somebody on TV telling me how to invest my money that actually works for the deep state? Or am I looking for something else or another avenue to put my money into that's going to make me more money? This all takes education of one type or another. Once you start to learn all of the knowledge, you become more humbled. You're not going to be expressing yourself as a peacock. You're going to be more humbled about your resources and your knowledge. You don't have to flash it. It's like a sword. You don't have to bring it out unless you need to. But if Sally keeps learning about how to operate within the world appropriately, what she's doing is, first of all, she's developing the golden star, which is what you have in your head, right? It's how you think about different facets of life. And then when she is employed in the outside world, she's now using the Drew star and making sure that that's all in balance. When she's met with a snake, she's able to use the internal and the external star. This, in turn, is going to allow her to maintain bliss because there will be no anger. There will be no dejection. There will be no guilt. There won't be any outbursts emotionally because you know you can handle your problems. At first, you might need to think about it. It might upset you at first, and then you're like, hey, I can do this because I have my I am. Slow down. Let me think about this. And they go and they meditate instead of going punching walls and stuff. This person is going to be conscientious about what they put in their body, whether it is food, whether it's a liquid of some sort, or whether it's some kind of an energy that they're absorbing. They're going to be very conscientious who they're around because they know the end result is going to be to maintain their timeline. and to bring their energy into a 0 point where you're in control of everything in your world using the gold star, the Drew star, and your crystal star. So from doing this, you're now able to reduce the effects of your timeline. You become in control. And when you are centered, when you are grounded in that 0 point frequency, and you're no longer angry, you have no reason to express anger, right? You're just analyzing the world. You can now anti-age, and it shows. The people that are angry tend to age faster. They have more wrinkles, they have more diseases. The cancer really is the stinking thinking that people use. That's what's speeding up their timeline and causing death for them to then hook around and go back to 3D. So now that you know the different types of people, if you look at what's happening in our world today, and this is not with judgment, this is from a learning perspective where we can learn from other people. If you look at what's happening, we have now a new disease. There's going to be a new disease coming up every so often. These diseases are opportunities to either tame the snake or to let it tick you off. You're going to get angry. Wow, look at this. And people are going to be blowing up, getting really mad. The more that the architect, I'm going to say the architect because these snakes are written into the Matrix program. They're set up to trigger these people. And if they don't handle the challenges with knowledge and with confidence using the I am, then they're gonna have this madness. And it's coming every month. We've got floods, we've got snow. Do these people have food on hand? Probably not. Do they know about candles, and are they stocked up with other survival resources? Probably not. Are they growing their own food? No. They're out spending 3-4 times more in food than what we are because we prepped, we learned survival skills, and we had the openness and the willingness to learn without carrying a sword and wanting to cut somebody's throat because they knew more than us. Instead, we remained humbled and we stayed in this 0 point frequency with an open mind that allowed us to learn. We took a jump out of an airplane and just said, okay, you know what? I don't know much about this, but I'm going to jump in and learn how to set up a solar system, how to set up a whole house water treatment system, or how to set up a pantry, how to set up your garden. We didn't know any of that, but we've learned how to also work our kitchen so that our kitchen becomes our medicine, and we are feeding the deficiencies within our body with whole foods and using spices to create this balance and harmonics within our body so that everything is coming together with the 0 point frequency, maneuvering our mind, and everything is coming together now so that you don't have to age. And this is the med bed frequency as well. It's learning how to use light and frequency to heal the body. It's learning how these quantum particles work with our body since we are light. We are part of the computer system that uses quantum particles, okay? There's no difference. And once we learn how to create this 0 point, you no longer will age. You can start regressing your age. The more that you surround yourself around people that are healthy and happy, the more that you're going to regress in age. This is why we will create tribes of like-minded people. The people that are choosing to be like Kurt, and that they're choosing life where they're angry and they have these angry outbursts, those people will eventually die off because they'll run to the end of their timeline and it's going to hook. There is no Fibonacci continuum of a perpetual life, like what you see happening with the Pleiadians or with the archangels, or a lot of these people that we wondered, oh my gosh, how are they doing this? This is how they're doing it. It's through the 0 point living, and taking care of your vessel is very key to anti-aging. So if people are choosing to go, look around you. There are people that don't know about their body, and they believe it is modern medicine's job to protect them because they have a welfare card or they have Medicare or Medi-Cal. It's not. It's your job. It's always your job, because if you go back to what Dolores Cannon said, it is the reason why we are here is to learn how to control our timeline. So when you start getting timelines, let's say that it's one line is my timeline. You listening today is another timeline, and that conjoins with my timeline. Tom, he has a timeline and it's on the other side. Then we have another listener that's listening, and they are forming the box of these 4 timelines. When you add more people that are timelines, this linear line, then we start building a cube. And when you start taking multiple cubes of timelines, you have a tetrahedron. When you have a tetrahedron where everybody's angry and mad, it becomes a black cube. That's 3D. If you look at the 5D cube, it's multi-beautiful, high vibrating light. It's not the darkness. It's the blues. It's the magentas. It's the indigos. It's the crystal lights. Those are all of us, what we are creating within our strand, our contribution to the tetrahedron. Look at it. Find yours, because that's what you're creating. And then think, what am I contributing to this timeline? You only have one. So if this one, you're choosing to have a more stealth, controlled 0 point bliss in love timeline, and you're rebuking negativity and darkness because that speeds up your timeline. You want to get away from all that. Instead, stay in empowerment, stay in the I am, and then you create that crystal star. And when you put the 3 together, that is your key code to move into the 5D and beyond. And in order to keep existing through it, you need to slow down to the 0 point, which means stay in happiness. So God gave you a parachute, but it's up to you to know how to deploy it and use it. And whether or not you blow through the east gate or the west gate is completely up to you. And here's how the architect designed our tetrahedron. And moving into the 5th dimension means that other tetrahedrons are now joining ours. And we're all going to learn how to live in a new reality with a new set of rules and developing more aspects of our I am. So with that, I'm going to leave you until another day and let you guys absorb all this, think about this, and understand that your timeline that you're on right now, you're either going to quickly run to the end where you die and go back with the hook to 3D life, or you're going to learn how to manipulate it, manage it, and make it slow. And you do that by being in love and bliss, by being able to handle those snakes that come at you with your sword of knowledge and intellect. Okay, you guys, we love you, and we'll see you next time. That's a George teaching.
And I want to add one more thing that George taught me just recently. And this is something you guys can think about. He told me, have a higher expectation of your self-worth. So I'll leave you guys with that. And thanks for joining us. We appreciate you guys.
As today's journey through the quantum shift concludes, remember that our voyage into 5D wonderment and magic continues. With George, our galactic guide, and the guidance of the archangels, we're unlocking new realms of wisdom and mastery. Thank you for joining Dr. Sam Mugzzi and Digital Tom on this enlightening path. Keep your parachute ready for our next leap into the unknown as we explore the vastness of spiritual awakening. Until we meet again, keep your gaze on the stars and your heart open to the universe's endless possibilities. Farewell, and see you next time on The Quantum Shift.